No spark between
Are we on?
us anyway.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kale Stroup, and I will be here with Ryan Krause and Sean Hughes to cast the League of Legends final at the Fenworks Esports tournament.
Yeah, right away we're seeing a Zeri ban. I know that, I believe that's the Panthers on the left side. They've been using Zeri in like a couple of their games coming up until this final.
You know, I 100% agree. I feel like in this type of state championship match, you're definitely going a little bit more for comfort than maybe what's something that is meta. I know Zeri is a little bit of both, so I think it's a great kind of first ban for those guys.
Yeah, no, we were able to actually speak with the gentlemen a little bit about what they were going to be picking and some of their strategies. And just to clarify as well, the gentlemen are going to be the Park Rapid Panthers, and the Fargo West Packers we will be referring to as the Packers throughout the course of this game. But we were able to speak with the gentlemen, and we have some ideas about what they're going to be picking and some of the thoughts they're going to be having throughout the game, so we'll be talking about those insights a little bit.
Yep, so blue side this game is going to be the Gentlemen, and red side is going to be the Packers. So right away, first off, we see a first pick set, so that's definitely going to be a little bit more comfort oriented. I know that their top laner Toothpick really does enjoy playing himself a set, so I think that's a great, just first pick, pretty safe in lane, pretty strong as well.
Definitely, and with the Swain pick, they're definitely trying to stop that engage from the set with the ult.
And interestingly enough, the mid laner D Daring on the Packers the Gentlemen, that is a comfort pick for their mid laner, so that is a bit of a counter pick there.
Already we've got a Leona Nico as well for the Gentlemen here. So it looks like they've got a lot of hard engage already, right? It seems like Nico is a flex pick. That's most likely going to be mid though, just because Leona is normally slotted in support. So we're looking for jungle as well as ADC for their next two picks. We're entering the second ban phase right now. We do see a little bit of mismatching here, right? The Packers already have their mid and jungle, right? So there's just going to be a little bit of a mismatch, so they'll be able to kind of ban the picks that they haven't picked already.
Yeah, and right away they're trying to get rid of all the ADC picks that otherwise would be a comfort pick or currently meta. So like you're getting rid of Jinx because she's absolutely strong right now. We see a ban from the Xin Zhao to try to get rid of that. I know that they were playing that earlier today and yesterday.
Yeah, so finally, let's see the first ADC pick is going to be Varus. I know he's got a couple of interesting builds right now. You can go AD or AP. Let's see kind of what the Packers decide to do with them. Blue side are going to be picking next, right? They're going to have to blind pick one of their champions. It looks like the last one on the Packers is going to be their top laner, so they get a little bit more of an advantage in that.
The Gentlemen so far have been able to pick a lot of their comfort picks, as we see Fallen One select Master Yi, as he stated earlier, was a comfort pick for him. So we're going to get to see a lot of these players play what they know.
Yeah, definitely. And with like the Varus pick and the Syndra and the Swain, they're definitely looking to do more poke and try to stop them from like getting a full health engage later on in the game.
Yep, no. I think Master Yi is fantastic in this type of team comp, right? They are going for a full-on dive comp, and Xayah is a very self-sustaining ADC. So that's going to be really nice for that self-PO. And finally, we round out the red side's team comp with the Shen top lane, right? Looks like a lot of comfort pick. They have a decent amount of poke and disengage as well on the red side. That Shen is going to be really nice for those early team play ganks, potentially bot lane, right? It's going to be pretty skill-orientated, but with the Shen bot, with his ultimate, that teleport that will be able to give somebody a pretty massive shield, as well as an additional champion, will be really important for winning those early fights bot.
Absolutely, Ryan. And just to provide some insight to the crowd, I believe we're going to be on a 2-minute, 30-second, or 3-minute time delay here in draft, so we're going to be talking a little bit about the strategies that might be employed by either team, what some of these matchups are going to look like, and I guess just a lot of the expectations that we have for this game based off of what's meta in the game right now. So yeah.
All right, I don't mind running down, going from top to bot, right? I'm a little bit more of the skilled in the top lane, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We've got Set versus Shen, right? So Set is pretty auto attack oriented. So as long as that Shen is able to get off his W, which will actually block all auto attacks in his area, they'll be really great for that trading, right? The only problem, that counterplay that Set has for that is if he gets that stun off before Shen is able to activate that ability, he's got very short and quick trade patterns, and he'll be able to kind of auto attack him a couple of times with his Q, run away, maybe use his W to do a little bit more damage and get that shield. So it's going to be a really skill-oriented top lane matchup.
And on that note of skill orientation, Ryan, not understanding fully if the crowd is aware of how in-depth this game can be with how many abilities there are and how the leveling is going to work. We will be giving a rundown of every ability that we see. We will explain exactly what's going on to you guys, and we're going to make it as clear as possible. So Shen has a dash that is a taunt, Set has an E that is a stun, and you guys will get to see that live, and it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that with these teams, they're going to try to like see which jungler can get ahead more so than like anything else for their teams. With like the Leona pick into the Swain, it's going to be really rough for the bot lane in a Leona situation because the Swain is going to definitely have the advantage there with being able to root him or root her and try to keep her off of his ADC.
No, I 100% agree. You know, that Bel'Veth versus Master Yi, those are the most assassin, hard, late-game DPS champions, right? So whichever jungler can kind of get ahead in that early to mid-game is going to be really team fight dependent on basically who's going to win that matchup, right? They're also since they are very high damage, they're also going to be extremely easy to kill, and both teams have a large amount of crowd control to kind of stop them in their tracks. So these team fights are going to be very tough for these basically assassin, high damage junglers, but whoever basically is going to start with that lead will probably have that edge going into mid and late game.
Definitely. I think the mid lane is going to definitely be more of a skill-based matchup, going back and forth between poking. And it's going to be dependent on whether or not they get ganks, but more so than not, it should definitely be more of a stalemate in a way, dependent on whether or not somebody uses an ability that puts them in a wrong place or if they just get caught out in a weird spot.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree that mid lane is going to be very back and forth. Basically, just they're going to be sitting, clearing some minions. Not a whole bunch is going to be happening. Again, probably going to be reliant on those junglers for those early ganks and potentially see if one of them will be able to roam either in top or bot lane to kind of get one of those other lanes ahead.
Now you'll see here in the next 5 seconds, we're going to get this game underway. We're going to start to see all these champions roll out onto the rift. So let's get going.
When they load in,
I know we touched on the bot lane a little bit this time. I'm going to go to Sean, who is our resident Leona player. I know you touched a little bit how that's going to be pretty tough for Leona in lane. How will it be able? How will the bot lane be able to win this lane on both sides of you?
So when it comes to the Xayah Leona lane, they definitely want to look to get more poke off before they go in for an engage, and it's sort of similar when it comes to the Varus lane with his arrow, or rather his Q. Now,
no chat.
One thing that the Xayah and Leona lane can look at is trying to use their back mage minions to cover a Swain Q. I'm sorry, we're doing some technical stuff. Yeah, and the other thing that the Leona lane has to understand is that the cleanse on Varus can definitely be baited out, but otherwise it can be detrimental to like an engage because he can just get away.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Sean, for kind of taking over there where we were dealing with a little bit of technical things. Right away in the early game, we're seeing a very early invade, 5v1. Let's see what Toothpick, aka the Set, could be able to do.
Okay.
We see the Set get jumped here, and we've got a really quick first blood here.
Yep.
That's a first blood for the Packers.
Yep, we love to see it for Red Side. Nobody was really watching that entrance. That might have been something that Nico or the mid laner Daring was able to do and kind of be able to let them know.
Can you press escape? Raise the audio.
Game audio.
Yep, sound. Master volume, just crank it.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. Yep, there you go. Yep. Okay. And you can swap back now.
All right, so after getting to talk to the gentleman a little bit, they want to open up this mid lane as quick as possible. You'll be able to see here there are 2 towers in the mid lane. They're going to want to destroy that tower as quickly as possible and then start to provide vision over the entire map to really just lock things down and control things the way they want it to go throughout the course of the game. So we'll see if they follow through on that game plan here, but yeah.
No, I love that. For all the parents and people that are tuning in right now that may not know a whole bunch about League of Legends, I want to just go a little bit over about something that you're going to be seeing throughout these lane. Those little things that you see about 6 of on each side right now that are red and blue, those are minions. Those are going to be very important for gaining gold and experience. So you'll be seeing both of the teams be trying to kind of last hit those to gain that gold. The other thing is, we're going to be seeing every single one of these champions try to 1v1 each other or 2v2 if we're talking about in the bot lane. And being able to kind of get those people low and deny them the gold and experience is going to be really important for that team to get ahead a little bit more in that early game.
Yes, as the resident ADC player, diving a little bit into kind of what I expect to see out of this bot lane here, we got Xayah and Leona, which until level 6, they're going to be getting poked out by Swain and Varus as far as I'm going to hope. So I expect Swain to be throwing a lot of ease here. That's going to be his ability. He throws out a claw that will pull in any opponents. There it is. He got the Leona right there, and then follow up with a little bit of damage. So they're going to be abusing that until level 6. That is what I anticipate.
Right, and we're seeing the mid lane fight currently. Daring taking a little bit of poke there at the end. Okay, Leona's going in. Get the stun off, and she's gonna take a W and take some poke as she walks away.
Yeah, I really do enjoy how once you went
okay.
in, oh,
Daring.
Wow, and the camera wasn't able to fully capture that mid lane kill, but yes, we've got Nico there with a solo kill all by
The
himself.
gentlemen just keep going back to back on these plays.
Yep, back
Stun. The Leona can finish this if she keeps going.
We'll see that.
And that's an excellent Leona play. Let's go.
Very
Good job, Copy.
close couple of fights here, both in the mid lane and the bot lane. Bot lane barely able scraping by on the blue side, which is our gentleman. Get that 2-for-1 trade. I think it's going to be pretty even. It's really nice for that Leona to get that extra kill, but both ADCs getting 1 kill will be great. One thing to pay attention to, as you can see on that scoreboard, right next to the ADC player, you see the number 20, as well as 13 for the red side. Those are that CS numbers. So people with more CS will have more gold. So Xayah having a kill, an assist, as well as more gold will mean that she'll have a little bit more of an advantage in that bot lane. So with that team fight, I'm expecting them to really want to go in more before they get poked down a little bit too much from that Varus and Swain.
And on that note too, we can see that all of the sums, or at least the aggressive ones, were used in the bot lane, and the sums being the summoner spells. The exhaust is gone, the ignite is gone, and both exhausts are gone actually, so it's going to be a pretty even farming and poke coming from that red team there.
I'd say it's very fortunate that Leona still does have her flash up. That will definitely give a lot of space and make that, though, you know, the red side, the Packers, have to play a little bit more defensive, knowing that a flash Zenith Blade, which is her main engage on her E, is very important, right? If you get on that Varus or that Swain that have no flash, it will be very easy for the blue side bot lane, the gentleman, to, you know, take advantage of that and get another kill or two.
Yeah, and right away we're seeing the Packers starting Dragon currently in the bot lane, or in the bot river, and gentlemen are starting to catch on with the Nico vision, and they might start collapsing here. Okay, the Daring getting poke off. Master G's looking to get in the pit. Okay, the Packers are taking another death. They got the Dragon though. They're going to take 2 deaths here for a Dragon, potentially more for the gentleman. Okay, and they just escape. So they take 2 deaths for 1 Dragon, which is 600 pieces of gold for the Master Yi there.
I would say definitely it is more worth, you know, for our gentleman, right? Getting 2 kills on that jungle matchup that we were talking about earlier, how whoever is ahead in that early game is really going to have a team fight. But let's talk about that later as Leona goes in. Really nice cleanse by Varus there to be able to get out of that. Looks like it's going to go back to the stalemate. But a little bit more on the dragon fight, right? Master Yi got 2 kills there. That'll give him a great influx of gold. the red team, the Packers, were able to secure the dragon at the end of that fight. So they're going to have more of that late game scaling with, a little bit of the buffs that the dragons provide.
Bringing some massive damage off from this Varus here.
Oh.
Zaya returns fire.
The Leona turns it. Okay, so both supports get both. They trade kills here. However, the Swain might be able to get it. He does not.
Life and saved by Master Yi.
She draws out the Swain for the Master Yi to get a third kill this game.
That was another really close fight, especially for those Packers that looked like they were going to have that edge on the 2v2. And then Swain chasing down that Leona that was literally 1 HP. Finally, that Master Yi comes to save that Leona. And now again, he just backed with 3 kills on his hands. Right, he was able to get full boots as well as a Vampiric Scepter. He is so much more ahead than this Bel'Veth this early into the game.
Now I'd like to comment on the vision going on the board here. We've got blue team. We've got our gentlemen here with some great vision control over this map here. At least on their side, they've got that line of vision all across the bot side river. They know what's going on down there. That is exactly how they explain their game plan to me, and that seems to be going their way so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from a support spectator, it's insanely important for vision to be in that river to be able to see where the jungler is currently.
No, I 100% agree. I do want to turn our sights onto the top bar where you're going to be able to... Oh, there's actually a mid lane fight happening here.
Gank coming from the Bel'Veth.
You see that shield on that Syndra? That means that
a
the
flash?
Shen is coming in. It is a 3v1 right now. Let's see what will happen. Nico will end up falling to the Bel'Veth. Master Yi sees he comes a little bit too late. So at the end of the day, it is a 1-for-0 favoring the Packers.
Yes, we love to see the Packers. They're closing that gold gap a little bit. There's only 100 gold. Actually, the gold advantage has swung into the Packers' favor by about 100 gold. Actually, almost dead even, actually.
The
really,
CS
really...
laid top is very, very wide.
Yeah, very gigantic.
very generous.
That was one thing that I wanted to make sure I mentioned before we saw that mid lane fight. That top side for the Packers has been very good for them, right? They're up 40 CS. That means that Shen is getting a whole bunch more minions and gold for him compared to that set. So even though the kill count is showing that it is 7-4 in favor of the gentleman, the gold is actually basically dead even. It's really anybody's game right now. That Shen is going to be very important for those mid to late game fights, as we've already seen he made an impact in the middle game being able to kill that Nico.
Right, and with that lead in the top lane, he's going to be able to take that lead and then bleed it downwards, where this might be a turn on the Master Yi here. Nope, they're pulling off.
Definitely looks like we're going for another team fight. Syndra with a great stun, able to one-shot the Nico before she was able to do anything. Unfortunately, with her ult, here returning to the bot side where it is just a 1v2. Zaya used her ult. She flashed away, gets exhausted. Looks like she might live. Oh! The last second snipe from the Varus Q being able to destroy the Zaya's health. He was able to do that. Number one, his Q does a whole bunch of damage, but he had 3 stacks of his passive up, which allowed him to do even more. That was a great trade for them, great way for the Packers to take advantage of that 1v2 lane.
Right, and absolutely. With the reset from the bot lane now, they're going to come back with an item advantage for this dragon that's about to spawn here in about 30 seconds.
And shifting our sights real quick to the top lane, we can see that Bel'Veth entered the top lane, dropped Herald to give Shen even more of an advantage over the set. He's already got the farm advantage nearly tripled, and this plating on the tower will fall, providing Shen even more bonus gold.
Yep. For those who don't know, we did just see a set ult try to kind of stop this push. But for those who don't know, Bel'Veth was able to take down one of the neutral objectives on the map, the Rift Herald, also known as Shelly. I love Shelly personally. But that gives her a great advantage with pushing those lanes. We were able to see with the Rift Herald, with her passive, they were able to take 2 tower plates, which is even more influx of gold into that Shen. We'll see that Bel'Veth has actually caught up on Master Yi, might even be a little bit more ahead, right? Even on kills, and has an 8 CS lead. So that Bel'Veth, even though it was a little bit behind early, these last couple of team fights have really gotten her ahead.
Right, now we're turning our attention to the Dragon Pit, where they're currently fighting over vision of the dragon to see if they're going to start and if they're going to do a delayed entry. Now they're starting to fight on this Leona. Okay, no, they find the Bel'Veth. The Bel'Veth is down. That is Cole Hunter on Varus. He is trying, or on Swain, he is trying to keep his team alive here by drawing away the pressure of Nico.
Oh,
Now the
Shen.
A very clutch Shen ultimate coming in on that Varus, saving his life from the Leona and the Xayah.
So at the end of the day here, it looks like Leona was trying to go in.
A flash play.
Forward, being able to take down that Nico. That is going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of the Packers. It looks like they also have their top laner down here, so they have even more of a man advantage. It looks like there's going to be 4 people down there. Belveth is coming down. Master Yi on the other side is also coming down. Set is actually TPing down bot lane. The gentlemen do not want to give this up for free. Let's see what's going on here. Leona is over there looking for an engage. It looks like they might just have to give this. Unfortunately, the dragon's already very low.
Oh, the Master Yi goes in the pit.
Goes into using the blast cone in the pit to try to steal the dragon, and unfortunately just dies. Oh, that is going to be great advantage for the Packers there on the red side. They got a 3-for-1 trade at the end of it. They were able to secure the dragon, and as well as the Shen ended up the Set ended up TPing down bot lane and really got nothing accomplished.
Yes, and just jumping in real quick, the locking down of these neutral objectives throughout the course of the game really sort of ensures the snowballing of the acquiring team of those objectives. So we can see that red team now has 2 dragons, which is going to aid them in the snowballing of this game.
Absolutely, and I believe that the gentleman had a lack of communication down in the bot side when they had their 4 players waiting around the corner while the Master Yi was about to go in, and then Xayah ulties away. She is currently poking to save her life. The Leona needs to get out of there currently. Okay.
Yep, Xayah able to get away from the Varus ult, ended up chaining her there for about 2 seconds, finally able to ult herself out, securing her from no sources of damage, and able to kind of just walk out freely. At the end of the day, it was a 1-for-1 trade for the ADC's ults. Not a whole bunch happening. Looks like Nico is trying to get a little bit of damage on Syndra. Got a little bit done, poked her to half health. That'll give her a little bit more lane priority coming into the future, actually forcing a Syndra back.
All right, and we have the Master Yi hovering bot side currently. He's trying to get rid of this Varus and try to help his bot side a little bit. But now we're looking more so at top side. We might be seeing some counter jungling happening, and that is when one side's jungler goes into the opposite jungle of the opposing team and starts taking his camps away, thus taking away gold for that team.
Yep, as well as experience, Sean. Don't get me wrong on that either.
Absolutely.
So it looks like that Belvin. Oh, let's turn our sights to the bot lane. It looks like Leona's trying to go in. Great dodge from the Varus. Varus still might be a little bit too far ahead. Looks like he's gonna die.
That's an alpha strike.
Yep, that was a really good alpha strike, which is Master Yi's Q, making him invulnerable while still doing damage. He ended up dodging that Varus ult that would have locked him in place. Very well timed by that Master Yi. At the end of the day, 1-for-0 in favor of the gentleman. Let's see if they can kind of push this advantage. They're trying to get a little bit.
They're going for a dive?
They're actually going for a tower dive right here. Leona was able to take a couple tower shots. Swain got to half HP, realized that they would probably die if they committed to it. Very smart of them to kind of back off a little bit.
Yeah, Ryan, a tower dive on a Swain while he has ultimate is
let's do
usually
this.
risky, although...
Swain stepping up a little too far there. Very lucky he ended up not dying. I think Xayah thought that she would have just killed him there with her last auto attack. Swain able to walk away just barely with his life.
So Varus is able to return to lane here, catch most of the CS from that wave, and pretty much farm safely.
Master Yi very luckily being able to secure his own blue
Nico
buff.
does not see the stun coming.
Let's see, it's going to be a 2v2 fight. A great stun on the Syndra. Looks like both millionaires
the set's
down.
coming on his
Master
way.
Yi's going in. He just gets one shot and died from that Shen, right? It was a 3v3. Set was a little bit late to the party. Ended up being a 3v2 in favor of the Packers. 1-for-0. Belveth, as you can tell, did so much more damage than the Master Yi. And as we said at the beginning of the game, this jungle matchup is really going to be what's important for the late game here.
Yeah, Ryan, we're seeing a couple of really snowbally champions, Belveth, Master Yi, and we're seeing a pretty significant gap in gold between the Belveth and the Master Yi in favor of the Belveth, so that is going to become significant as the game goes on.
And currently we're seeing the Shen come from behind the top tower. It might not be a gank now. They're definitely setting up provision for this, the Rift Herald or Shelly, to keep vision on their side of the map.
Yep, they definitely want to make sure that red side, oh my gosh, Shelly's already basically dead. And the Packers are able to secure that. So again, as we said earlier, this is going to be a great buff for the Belveth, making her even stronger than she already was. Let's see what they're going to, number one, do with that Rift Herald and figure out where they want to kind of take their objective killing in those towers to see how far they can push. It looks like topside might be the priority just because it's already half health. But if it was me, in my opinion, I really want to make sure that we are going to be killing that mid lane tower to start opening up the map. Nico is very good at wave clearing and kind of stalling out the game even more. I think using that tower killing objective like the Rift Herald would be very smart on mid lane.
Right again. I believe both sides are starting to look again at that dragon that's about to spawn here in about another 35, 40 seconds.
It was really smart. It looks like the Belveth hasn't backed in a while. I don't know if she'll be able to back and get there in time for the dragon. Actually kind of negating her lead a bit, right? She's sitting on a whole bunch of gold.
So Leona's looking for the engage?
Yep, Leona goes in here. They're trying to 1v2 the Belveth. It looks like she's super
That should
low.
be enough.
Oh, that was a great pick, 1v2. The Varus ults in. It looks like they're trying to one-shot. Leona flashes in.
Leona wants him.
The Master Yi is 1v1ing the Varus. He's getting a double kill, right? They're going on Swain. Oh, let's go!
My goodness.
What
the
a
gentleman.
play by the gentleman there. Able to pick off the #1 member in Belveth, get her shut down, and then the bot lane tried to come to her support, but a little bit too little, too late, and Master Yi able to pull off 3 kills there. A 3-for-1 trade. It looked like Leona ended up going down. Unfortunately, I didn't see who she ended up dying from, but still, absolutely fantastic for the gentleman fans out there.
Now, I do believe that death was to Xayah, so that puts their bot lane that was prior to being behind back into that lead.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see the Belveth walk right into the Leona queue, so she's gonna remember that one and maybe seek vengeance here in the near future.
I want to talk just a little bit about the state of the game, right? We are entering 18 minutes of gameplay. This is kind of when the lanes are going to be more so going and focusing on that mid game, which is more so grouping around objectives. The 2 major objectives, the Dragon and the Rift Herald, were recently killed. So now it looks like Belveth is trying to kill this grab. Let's see if she gets it. She gets out. It looks like that we're doing a 1v1 for the junglers. Let's see who's going to go on top.
She might out-heal.
Oh my goodness, Belveth with all of that burst damage. It looks like Set tried to come and help, but I know that Belveth's going to win. Syndra comes over to the side, being able to stun him. The flash. Double kill by Belveth. Absolutely fantastic. She's just so far ahead, right? Like as I said, she was sitting on a whole bunch of gold. When she died, she was able to go to base, purchase her items, and now she's so much further ahead than that Master Yi.
I've seen a little bit of Varus. Shoots the ulti, gets the 3 stacks off on his passive, does a whole bunch of damage on the Xayah, not really able to return any herself.
Yes, and while he did not kill her, right, she is extremely low, so Varus will have the priority in this lane. She has to be very careful. A fully charged Q and potentially E could just be enough to kill her. Leona is coming down.
Leona is hovering.
This will make it so, Varus very smartly notices her on the ward and backs off. That was very smart. Way to look at your mini-map.
Incredible ward.
But yeah, as I was saying, back to the mid game, right? Teams are starting to go away from their normal lane assignments, right? They're going to be looking for objectives, looking to gain vision control. It looks like Belveth has finally dropped that Rift Herald, and like I said, it is going to be in that mid lane. Nico having to flash so she does not get chain CC'd and die.
We're going to see Shelly here take down this mid tower, opening the map up largely.
Nope, that 4v1 was not enough for Nico to be able to, defend it by herself. The Packers were very fortunate to get that mid tower, being able to open up that map and get more vision deeper into the gentleman's side of the jungle.
It'll be interesting to see how the gentlemen return fire here. The Baron is up. We have Master Yi and Xayah with some extremely strong snowballing potential. We'll see who they start to invest their time and money into here as the game continues.
Yes, and with the Shen being this far ahead and being able to continuously shut out the set this far into the game still, where he's supposed to theoretically start falling off now that he's at level 12, it's going to be huge for their lead to continue into this mid game.
I do want to notice something real quickly, right? We've been talking about that jungler matchup between Master Yi and Belveth. Look at the item discrepancy between the two. Belveth has 2 items completed, almost her 3rd, and Master Yi still just has a Bork and the components to his 2nd item. He is basically a full item behind. That will be very important for these mid to late game team fights when we see 5v5s. That Belveth will be able to melt, and Master Yi needs a couple more items before he will finally be able to match. The good thing about the Gentlemen is their team fights do have a lot of pick and hard engage potential, right? As we saw them being able to get a good fight around that third dragon and end up taking a 3-for-1 and shutting down that Bel'Veth, they got a really nice pick, right? Their team comp is very good at finding out where the other champions are and taking advantage of the stragglers.
Another thing to note is that when you look at the Packers team comp and you start looking at their itemization, you'll notice that like their mid laner, their bot laner, and their support are all AP based, giving the Bel'Veth free range to like build as heavily AD as she possibly needs to. And it makes it hard for, say, the Leona or the Set to choose what items they really realistically want to choose for the future.
There's a whole bunch of damage here on the Packers, and it's really going to be tough, like Sean said, for those tanks to kind of itemize between the damage, right? There are 4 magic damage dealing champions on the Gentlemen, or sorry, on the Packers, my apologies, but that Bel'Veth was so far ahead, and she's that 1 AD, right? They definitely need to get some armor. As we are focusing, it looks like the Packers are focusing around this dragon, right? We might be seeing a nice 5v5 team fight. The Packers are able to, the Sean gets a taunt, able to, that was just on the Nico clone. Just on the Nico clone. Very good bait, yes.
Excellent bait. Now we're looking at a stagger. Okay, the Leona ult just barely misses, gets a slow. The Varus ult also whiffed. The Bel'Veth is now looking to fight this Master Yi. We have a Nico ult in the middle. The Shen ult gets procced. He's sustaining on top of everyone. And the Zayag walks away with it.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we just saw a whole bunch of damage there, all in one little area. It was very nice that Syndra, you probably didn't see very much, she was able to get so much area of effect, which basically means she hits multiple members of the Gentleman's team, right? They were a little bit behind, but because of that area effect damage, she was able to melt them, right? That was absolutely well played by the mid laner of Lord Quinton on the Packers side. They were able to win that team fight, take that dragon. Now it looks like they have their eyes on the Baron. For the people that don't know, Baron is only available 20 minutes or later in the game and provides massive team fights buffs. And it looks like the Gentlemen are just going to give it up, right? Nobody's there to contest it.
Yeah, the Packers are really going to be able to lock this down uncontested, as we can see here. And they're all going to do a quick back and buy and return to the field.
Yep. So for those... Oh, sorry.
Oh, currently right now, there is a time limit on the Baron buff too. That's really important to note. So what we want to see from like the Gentlemen is to like turtle or play defensively and not try to engage within like these minion buffed waves and try to hold them off of like, say, their towers and other objectives.
Yeah, well, we normally see the minions looking plain, being cut down by the opposing team. The red side minions now have a buff on them provided by the Baron that is going to allow them to push into the blue team's base faster. We see Shen engage here on the set.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit of wet noodle fights, as we like to say, right? Just 2 tanks going at it. Shen did some pretty decent damage, honestly, on that set. As you can tell, Set, unfortunately, just has 3 components, right? He is still so far behind. He is not able to get that 1 completed item, compared to the Shen is almost done with his 2nd. And even the Bel'Veth, look, he's got 3. We turn our side to the bot lane, right? That Bel'Veth has empowered minions with the Baron as well as her passive. By slaying the Baron Nashor, they're able to just shred these towers down here. The Gentlemen will definitely have to come down and kind of stop this
Bel'Veth's
push.
trying to engage on Xayah here.
Oh, the Leona ult just
comes out
came a little too late. Oh my goodness, and the Varus Q followed by the Swain root just completely takes him out of the game as well. This is going to be a bot lane into the inhib, into the Nexus, I believe.
Let's see. I mean, those death timers are already pretty long. It's only 25 minutes in the game, but we've got 4 people down bot lane. I really want to see a Shen TP on maybe one of these minions. There's so much siege power. It looks like they're just trying to end the game. The blue side, they're definitely going to have to engage. They've got to stop them. What are they going to do? They're just letting them attack the tower in the base, and it looks like the Packers are going to take game 1.
The Packers managed to end it in 25 minutes with that Baron and that bot lane push.
A Baron push like that is pretty textbook. When you're behind and you're not able to defend against a unit, or if you're not turtling correctly or playing defensively within the lane and you're playing around in the jungle or you're pushed out too far, you definitely will find yourself in situations like that where you're now down 2 members and you can't defend against something like that.
They definitely came in, and they came in hard, right? I was not expecting that dragon fight to basically go to a 2-minute end immediately after, right? But the Packers were really able to kind of push their advantage there at the late game. That Belveth, like we said, in the entire game, basically, she was so far ahead and really started carrying that team fight. So right now, we're going to go into a quick little intermission. We are going to go right into game 2, and we'll see you guys on the other side.
Hello, everybody. We are back for Game 2 of the League of Legends Finals at the Fenworks Esports State Tournament. Last game, we were able to watch the Gentlemen and the Packers face off, and they had some interesting picks, and we're going to see how they go into the draft and how they do this second game draft based off of the last game. I have a lot of interest in seeing how they switch up their strategy. Going in this, we see the same Zuri and Vladimir bans going out, so nothing has changed thus far. We now have a Rengar ban. We know the Gentleman mains Rengar, so it makes sense that they would look into what he does and ban it. Of course, we see the red team get rid of that Belveth. They did not want to deal with that again. That makes a lot of sense to me. All right, we see the Diana ban. Diana, a really strong team fight champion, really good in these team group settings. The set ban goes out. A bit surprising. Top side was a bit of the weaker side, so the set was not anticipated. But we see a first pick Victor. So mid lane, we're going to see a Victor. He is a high magic damage dealing champion. We see a Volibear, likely to go top lane, hovering on the red side. Volibear also can be flexed to the jungle, so we will see what is actually picked for which role here soon. Let's see what they decide to pick for the second champion. And we see a Kayn jungle, so that confirms the Volibear's top. Oh, Xin Zhao.
Sorry about that. I am back. Let's get right into pick ban here. Very smart that this game that the Gentlemen were able to ban away that Belveth. That was the main problem. Already getting a couple of junglers here early. We see the Xin Zhao pick as well as the Kindred.
Yeah, Kindred, Xin Zhao, Volibear. You know, we actually aren't sure which is jungle and which is top yet. The Xin Zhao was hovering Kayn, so I'm going to suspect that is their jungler. Okay, we see the Shen pick once again and Swain. So these are comfortable, familiar picks, and we've seen these played just last game.
Yes. We're getting into the second ban phase right now, and both teams do not have an ADC. So it looks like we are banning those ADCs back and forth. It looks like we are banning those ADCs back and forth. Twitch and Kai'Sa, Jinx, and Siri are all off. The Varus is back online. Does it look like the Gentleman might be able to pick the Varus if that's comfortable? Nope, they go back with the Leona. I think that is a really smart pick. They did do really good with the Leona, and instantly the Packers respond with the Varus.
And we discussed the bot lane was played very, very well. The matchups were played as anticipated and as expected. As they were played just about as well as we would expect. But this time we see a Thresh picked for the support. Thresh, a very mechanical champion, a very fun champion to watch.
Yep, no, I think bot lane is definitely going to be an area of focus for the Gentlemen this game. I think they did a really good job. I don't think they had the easiest lane assignment, and they really were winning those early game fights in that lane. It wasn't until that Belveth started to come around, get some more kills on the bot side where they weren't really able to do much. That Xayah Leona. They had a nice little lead for themselves. Unfortunately, the Belveth was just a little bit too much.
Ooh, and it's going to look like a Leona Vayne bot lane. That's going to make for a fun late game.
Absolutely. We've got some more snowballing champions. We've got a Kindred, we've got a Vayne, we've got a Victor. We've got high damage. We've got intensity for the late game in this one, gentlemen and ladies.
Absolutely. So it does look like this time we want to just make sure the blue side is going to be the Packers and the red side is going to be the Gentlemen. So the red side going with the Volibear top lane versus the Shen. This time it looks like they're going a little bit more comfort maybe with the Volibear, a lot more early game as well. Volibear doesn't really need to land his auto attacks except for his stun, which is going to be very important. So as long as he can get that off before that Shen is able to block that, his trades are going to be very nice for him.
Now we got about 5 seconds before our players are actually in the game, and we're gonna have another 3 to kind of talk about what we expect as we're doing. But you know, we're gonna really anticipate, as we said, some bot lane focus this game. We've got Shen to ensure Varus and Victor and Kindred, some really strong carries for the late game, are protected with that ultimate. We're gonna see some mobility all across the map. Really exciting things for the late game, in my opinion.
And we have a lot of really strong engage coming from like Leona pick once again. The Xin Zhao being able to do his WE abilities that puts him right on top of, say, the Varus or the Victor or even the Kindred, along with the Volibear. We have a lot of really strong engage coming from the Gentleman. And with the Packers, they're probably going to be looking at a potential keeping the Kindred, the Victor, the Varus alive between the Thresh and the Shen, similar to what they were doing the last game.
I do want to add this game, it does look like the Gentlemen will have a little bit more of an early game team comp. That means that they're going to have to play a little bit more aggressive, get a little bit more of a lead. However, they do have a Vayne in the bot lane to kind of, have that late game insurance. When you look at the Packers side, they've got a whole bunch of late game carries, right? Kindred is basically a second ADC. She's going to need a couple of items to get online. Victor, also known not very well to be very good early game. The Varus, however, is going to be one of those, if they go with the AP build, will end up being a little bit better that early to mid game. However, that Xin Zhao versus Kindred matchup will be very important to watch early. Xin Zhao definitely has the lead on that.
Yeah, we're definitely looking more so at poking and running from the Packers in this game. Now, we're coming in on a minute till we start the official stream here.
Yes, I'm really, really excited to see how they play this one as opposed to the last game, responding to from game to game versus their opponents across the lane is going to be really exciting in this best of 3 games series.
I just wanted to quickly sum up. Last game, it seemed extremely close throughout the early and mid game. It was really anybody's game until finally that 4th dragon, where the Packers were able to, take that dragon, take that team fight, go to a Baron, get a couple of picks after their Baron recall, and just end through bot lane. I really think that the Gentlemen can come back here in this game, and it's really anybody's shot. Again, I want to say it is a best of 3 series, so right now the Gentlemen are on their match point to take the championship. Oh, no. The Gentlemen are on their match point, where if they end up losing this next game, they will be out of the tournament and take 2nd place, and the Gentlemen will be taking 1st.
All right, we got 10 seconds until we hop right into the Rift here and see the action begin. And here we go.
Right away, we can look at some of the sums that are in the bot lane again. We're seeing the Varus with the cleanse for the Leona, and maybe even the Vayne knockback into a wall, and the Thresh with the exhaust. And they're definitely looking to play, and the Thresh with the exhaust is definitely looking to keep the, say, the Xin Zhao or even the Vayne off of his ADC.
All right, we saw an invade last game. We'll see if they try that again, not anticipating that the Gentlemen don't expect it this time. We'll see some wards go out, and we'll see them position along the river to await the opposing team in case they do invade.
This game we do see again that the Packers are looking for an early game invade. It looks like the Gentlemen are going, again, they just want to kind of make sure that that invade doesn't happen. We see that the Packers are all stacked in 5 in 1 bush. We'll see if they enter through that blue side jungle and if any sort of fight or first blood commences.
Right away, you can see that they're putting up defensive wards currently to try to stop any sort of invade without their knowledge.
All right, the Packers are rolling into the opposing red team's side, but they've pinged it. They're aware.
Yep, a whole lot of nothing really happened right there. It actually looks like the Packers are going to get a little bit more aggressive this game and end up just starting on that enemy blue buff. I expect that potentially this game, the Xin Zhao on the Gentleman side will start his red buff and quickly go over to the blue to make sure that he does not get 3 buffed this game.
Just making sure you're getting all of your gold and experience in your respective role is very important to ensure you don't get snowballed right over by your opponents. So that is what that 3 buff means. There are 4 main buffs on the board. Getting 2 per side is standard.
We're also seeing the Shen coming back from the invade in the bot side. He's showing up late to his lane this game. So he will be starting behind by a few minions. Oh, and the Xin Zhao might come for a level 2 gank mid. We'll see if he can land his WE. Nope, it's a turn back to the camps for him.
Yes, because Swain started his Q there, he wasn't able to pull the Victor into range, allowing Xin Zhao to engage. So for now, the mid laner on our blue side here is safe.
It was a very smart ward early in that bush there that Victor was actually able to spot out that Xin Zhao and make sure that that gank didn't happen. If that ward wasn't there, I'm sure that Victor would have played a little bit more aggressive, and that could have cost him his life. As I said earlier, it looks like Xin Zhao did end up going into the enemy jungle's blue buff. So he wants to make sure he can get that quickly as possible. He has secured it, and now he's going to be actually as well trying to greed a little bit and take the Gromp. Kindred elected to go a full clear on our bot side, so it looks like Xin Zhao should be able to get away with it.
Yes, in the mid lane, we've got some equal trades going back and forth, although Swain has used both of his potions, so he can no longer generate health with the aid of potions, while Victor still has one.
And we just saw a little skirmish down here in the bot lane. Ooh, looking for a second one. The Vayne's getting free poke off on that Thresh, which is very huge for this lane. We're seeing the Thresh already popping his first potion and his second now. He's trying to use that to stay in this lane for as long as possible. The next time that this Leona engages, he should be looking for an E on her to flay her off so she doesn't land her second CC ability, which would be her Q stun.
Now, we can't see it right now, but Kindred's main ability, or one of the things that makes Kindred unique, is his passive. He's able to get special camps that are marked throughout the course of the game, increasing his overall damage. He was just able to secure one of those in the river there, getting the Scuttle Crab.
Very unfortunately, Xin Zhao ended up being a little bit late to it. Victor was there. Oh, let's turn our side to the top side. It looks like Kindred is ganking. The Volibear is going to have to flash, and Kindred will secure the first blood.
That was very excellently done between the Shen and the Kindred. We're definitely going to be seeing more and more ganks from this Kindred now that he's getting a little bit of a lead. And potentially, the bot side could see a kill for the gentleman if they land another CC. Okay, here's the Q. There's the cleanse. They should be pulling off now. There's continuation. The Leona lands a Q flash. The Vayne is going for it. She gets it. She secures it, and it's a trade. Excellently done between both ADCs there. The Leona is looking to play aggressive and secure the second kill. However, she needs to push in this wave to try to, like...
The wave is not in an opportune spot for blue side right now. Or, excuse me, it is not an opportune side for red. Blue is able to freeze the red wave, allowing them to farm freely and safely for these next few waves, at least for sure.
Yep. And at the end of the day, it was a 1-for-1 trade. Both ADCs were able to kill each other, so the gold is relatively even, especially because first blood already happened in the top side. However, we do look, and Thresh is the only one in the bot lane that still has a summoner spell, and that is his very important flash. So that will be something that the red side will definitely have to look out for in this early game. However, I do like the trade a little bit more for the Vayne. Getting ahead early on Vayne will just make you a little bit more scary in that mid game before you kind of reach your late game carry position.
And quick to note here, we can see Varus having a blasting wand and a dagger early, so we're going to see some mixed hybrid damage coming from the Varus. It's a little bit harder to defend against, so we'll see how the red team responds to that.
And currently we're seeing the Kindred coming toward the bot side, trying to secure that kill so they can look to get Dragon. And since Vayne is alone and Thresh does have flash up, there is potential for a kill here if she doesn't dodge it.
Turning our side of the bot
lane.
Oh,
she
Vayne
does the
hook.
Yep.
And now they have the Xin Zhao and the Leona coming in as a combo to try to stop this Kindred. The Kindred does a flash over the wall into try. And he goes back for the blasting cone, and he's out. Okay, that
incredible jukes by that Kindred there.
Now they have free Dragon control for the gentleman now. Now the Kindred here is trying to angle a steal, but they might just be pulling it out of the pit, alleviating a strong chance of stealing.
It looks like we are going to have a 4v4 team fight down here. Red side, as in the gentlemen, are now looking like they are going to engage. The Kindred ends up falling early in the game, and then Leona dies as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade so far, but Xin Zhao, Vayne goes in and goes absolutely crazy. It looks like the Victor just needs to run for his life. Vayne's trying to see if he can chase him down. Victor's now turning on the Swain, and the Dragon ends up eliminating him. That's a triple kill for the Victor, but as well as 2 kills for the Vayne. So at the end of the day, it is actually a 3-for-3. However, Victor getting 3 kills there is going to be very important. He is one of those later game carries. He almost has his first item completed already. But again, Vayne was the one that got 2 kills as well on her side. She will be able to also, kind of catapult her way into that late game as well.
Yes, the Dragon stands alive for now. No one was able to lock it down and secure it yet, although we can see, we can anticipate the teams moving there within the next few minutes to ensure an early game advantage.
Right, and now we see some de-warding, some more warding happening between both sides. They're trying to gain that vision back again. We have the Kindred getting assisted by the Victor to secure Scuttle, potentially going for Rift Herald right after this potential gank.
Just to shift our focus up to topside here, Shelly is alive. Securing Shelly would allow them to drop it and pressure one of the topside towers here, also pulling attention away from that dragon. So there's some strategy about to be employed here for sure.
I will say it looks like red side is moving more towards that dragon, potentially looking for a gank. The Kindred is still topside as well, probably going to turn her focus to the Rift Herald. Trading objectives is not a terrible thing, right? Rift Herald will allow you to get a little bit more gold as well as objective presence by eliminating towers a little bit earlier, but dragons are going to be very important for being able to secure a little bit more late game objectives as well as getting that very important dragon soul. We turn our attention to the mid lane. It looks like there's just a little bit of trading happen. I'd say Victor ended up getting a little bit better side of that deal.
We can see Swain decided to go with a refill potion there. I'm a huge fan of that item. If you can buy it, you probably should in the early game. It's going to allow you to trade more often, more frequently, and safer. Swain still managing to be at half health, and with his ulti, that's not altogether the worst thing. So we can see the teams collecting around Dragon here. They're pinging for help, so we can anticipate some action happening here in the next minute or so.
Yeah, I definitely would have preferred to see that Kindred towards the top side and actually potentially go for a dive here on the Volibear, right? He is still pretty squishy. She had that Rift Herald. That could have been some sort of cross map she could have done. Instead, they're electing to just give up the dragon, and instead just the Kindred is going to be taking that topside jungle.
Yes, bot side blue team safely and smartly decides to walk back to lane, make sure they continue to collect that gold in the minions, or from the minions in the wave. And we'll see how these trades continue to go. Vayne and Varus both level 7. Kindred or Xin Zhao bot side, Kindred top side. We'll see where they decide to focus here in the next few minutes.
I do want to turn our attention to the later scale of the game as well. The score is tied 5-5. However, this game, the Packers have the advantage a little bit in the early game. We can see that they just have a little bit more of a CS advantage, basically across the board, except for potentially in the bot side, right? So that Victor is very much ahead of the Swain, and the Shen are just a little bit more ahead of the Volibear. Another thing to pay attention to, Shen does have his ultimate ability up, so he'll be able to impact the map more than what the Volibear can.
They both opted to take teleport this game. That will allow them to teleport to a tower, and past 14 minutes they will be able to teleport to a ward or a minion. So that will allow them to have some ability all across the map as well. We can see some trades going on here, bot lane as well as mid lane. Victor and Swain keeping it pretty even here.
Yes, and Varus ult and Cleanse are both currently down, which is very bad for the Packers this game.
And we're looking towards mid lane. Kindred has a gank on the Swain. Swain's just trying to trade a kill, and very well done by that jungle. But let's look at Xin Zhao and Leona both roaming up. It is a 2v2. I don't see anybody else around. The Shen uses his Stand United. The red side very smartly decides to back off. That was a very good trade, very good ultimate by that Shen. Let's see if the Volibear can kind of take advantage of that. As we see, Shelly was dropped. They're able to do a lot of damage to that mid lane tower and get themselves a little bit of gold. At the end of the day, it is a 1-for-0 trade. It looks like Kindred was able to take out the Swain.
We can see blue side opting to allow Vayne to get solo XP and gold and tower gold from this bot side. An interesting decision, not one they necessarily had a choice in, though. Vayne will get ahead a little bit in XP and gold. She's about 20 CS or creep score up on this Varus, so she has a little bit of a gold lead over her lane opponent.
Now this Vayne has been holding the pressure down in bot side for a while, so she's going to get a back off real quick. We have not a lot happening across the map with both objectives currently down, and we're seeing a little bit of just CSing back and forth currently. And with that pressure from the bot side being so heavy, they're able to secure all of that vision in the river that the Thresh is now looking to alleviate from them. And potentially he'll find the Xin Zhao in the bot side jungle before it's too late.
It does look like Leona is going in here on the Varus. It's just a 1v1 support versus ADC. Somehow it looks like the Leona is dead now. It looked pretty close at the beginning. Varus ends up dying there.
A Thresh Lantern to save him from the Vayne. Excellent to get escape from the Packers this game in the bot side. Much cleaner than they did last game.
The Swain is opting for safe trades. He's only fallen twice, and he's got 4 assists. He's doing really well at surviving this Victor, who we've seen get quite the gold lead this game. 3-1 on the Victor. He's got a bounty. So on that note, Victor has to opt to be safer here. If Victor is taken down, whoever takes him down gets an extra 300 gold, which is significant.
For sure. It looks like the Leona right now is going towards the mid-river, right? Just getting a little bit more vision control, which I know the gentlemen definitely need to happen. Unfortunately, they were not able to get that ward.
The Xin Zhao is currently roaming toward topside. Maybe see if he can lock down this Shen with the Volibear for a potential gank, kill, and a couple of plates. Let's see if he can do it currently. He has to outplay the taunt here. He gets taunted. Do we see the Volibear ulti the tower here? He does. They're going for the dive. It's going in. The Xin Zhao keeps autoing. He has to beat out the Xin Zhao W.
Attack the tower on accident. The Victor came to go. They were able to finally take down the Shen. However, the Victor roam was able to pick up the other two off the back end. They just didn't have enough damage, and now we see the engage from the red side. The Leona's going in on the Varus, just uses flashes and cleanse. That was a huge Q, a whole bunch of damage. They're looking to keep on trading. Varus steps up. Unfortunately, looks like he's going down. Leona under tower. The Vayne ends up getting a double kill. Leona does end up falling, but that was a fantastic trade for the gentleman there. It looks like Kindred is entering the fight. She says, I am not done just yet. Vayne uses her Condemn. Kindred can't catch up. And at the end of the day, it is a 2-for-1 for the gentleman. Vayne getting another 2 kills.
Both teams are now aware that the Infernal Drake is alive. They're going to be roaming there. Kindred opting to roam there by himself. There are 3 people around him on all sides. A bit of a risky maneuver. 4, actually. Volibear right there next to the Xin Zhao. So we'll see how the blue team opts to respond to this dragon play here.
And another thing to note real quick is that we're seeing the the Victor with a 5-1, and currently the Vayne is keeping neck and neck with that late game potential. And the Swain pops ulti. He's going straight into the enemy team. He needs backup. He gets picked off right away.
It does look like he was just a little bit more far ahead than his team there. He went in 1v4 basically. Kindred was the only one that was not there. With that death happening and Vayne recalling, it does just look like the Packers are just going to be taking this for free.
So we've got 1 dragon for blue team, 1 dragon for red team, 1 dragon for the gentlemen, and 1 dragon for the Packers. Even so far in objectives.
One thing these teams got to realize for win conditions for these team fights is to keep both the Victor and the Vayne alive on opposing teams, and to coordinate correct team fights. They're going to have to play around both that damage on either side.
Very smartly, it does look like the Packers are trying to take even more advantage right now. They are going for the Shelly Rift Herald objective. There is nobody on the gentleman's side that's going to be able to contest here. And again, it just looks like they got another free objective. So first the Dragon, and now first the Rift Herald. Let's see where they end up taking that. I think, again, it is a smart move to try to open up the map and then use that mid lane. However, they haven't backed in a while. I think it'd be very smart for them to kind of recall right before they try to start tower sieging mid lane if a team fight does occur.
Xin Zhao returned to his jungle. We can see the Kindred mark is actually on the red side Raptors. Xin Zhao smartly opting to get rid of those to disallow Kindred from getting that mark. We can see Varus and Thresh have opted to go mid to mirror the Leona Vayne. That allows them to get CS a little bit faster.
And we can see the Leona engage with a alt Q, her classic. The Shen ulti might just save him just yet. No, it's too late. It's too late, but there's a TP. There's a TP with a Kindred engage. The Varus is going to clean up. He's coming for that Leona. No, he's going back for the CS. And the Rift drop, they are going to take this tower. They're going to hold off the Xin Zhao from engaging, and they're going to try to push us as far as possible down the mid lane.
Again, at the end of the day, it is a 1-for-1 trade, ADC for ADC. However, the Victor was able to get the shutdown gold on the Vayne, which is a whole bunch of gold, and their best member is currently down. They could continue to siege here. This tower is already low from Shelly. It looks like they elect to back off. Very low mid lane. Swain looking to try to do the flank, gets a little bit of a root, and then decides to back off.
Now, Vayne has returned to life here, running back to the Rift. She opted to buy Shield Bow first item. That item provides her a massive shield when falling to low health during fights. That is on cooldown, so she will not have that if she opts to fight within the next minute here. So we'll see what she decides to do.
Right, and I believe that the gentlemen currently really need to get their Vayne further and further ahead within these team fights without like letting her fall like that she just did prior. We're seeing a lot of the same kind of like vision between the river entrances toward the mid lane, which is very, very common. And we might potentially see the Thresh go top. Nope, he's going to come back to mid to protect the Varus from the Leona Vayne, which is very, very smart.
And again, right now we are in the mid game, so that is why you're seeing that a lot of the champions have kind of left their respective lanes, except for top lane that is considered an island, and they can do whatever they feel like doing. In all seriousness, it looks like Swain is actually going on the Kindred here. Kindred is just saying, I am ignoring this Swain and trying to get the tower. She does, in fact, end up ulting it. She's exhausted. However, the tower finally falls. She ends up falling again. Don't know if that was the best trade for her. She did have 350 gold for that shutdown, which was given to Xin Zhao. That is a whole bunch of gold that he was just provided. At the end of the day, it was a tower for a kill. Again, I kind of like the gentleman's side of that trade a little bit more. However, Swain does look like he is in a bit of trouble. He needs to dodge the hook. However, the Thresh hook was just too short. Varus says, I am not done. I still have ultimate. He's looking for a root. He misses the root. Swain, with those fancy footwork, he is able to dodge the two main forms of CC and get out alive. The dragon is up here pretty shortly. It looks like that the gentlemen are going to be grouping around it. Thresh looks like he's in a terrible spot. Can he use the blast cone? He does. He uses the blast cone to get out safely.
Now, the Dragon's going to be coming up within the next minute, and this is interesting. We see Victor, who is, wow, just absolutely blasting Volibear off the map for the next 30 seconds. The Dragon, like I was saying, will be up in the next minute, and Victor is not on that side of the map, so we will see how the blue team responds without their very, very strong 8-1 mid laner with a 700 gold bounty.
We're going to see if this... red side wishes to like contest the dragon. They have a lot of strong pressure without the Victor TP, but I don't know if they know that it's not currently up. It's just coming up now, so potentially they don't go for it. The Victor's actually roaming all the way down without you expelling his TP, and he might come in, push the mid wave, and then try to hold off the gentleman before they go in for the dragon fight.
Yeah, it just looks like right now we are going to have a fight around Dragon, but however, the gentlemen, they are engaging onto the Kindred. Leona is all 1v5. However, they engage back onto the Packers. There's a huge team fight happening here. There's a whole bunch of damage going on. It looks like the Victor is super low. Leona's super low. Whole bunch of low health bars. Vayne is free firing from the back. She's the only last remaining member, but she can
She's going!
Oh! The Victor, however, at the last moment, he was one auto attack away. Vayne cleans up and gets a triple kill there. However, Victor, again, the strongest member on the Packers, was able to stay alive, use his little bit of extra range to take down the Vayne in the end. I would also like to say the Packers were able to secure the Dragon in that exchange as well. We've got 2 different teams with 2 hyper carries that have a whole bunch of kills and a whole bunch of gold. Victor, however, at the current time looks like he is a little bit ahead of the Vayne, almost 1,000 gold already. So we'll see what type of advantage he can take over, right? That Victor provides a lot more team fight damage with his area of effect ultimates or abilities like his ultimate as well as his E, but Vayne, however, does a whole bunch of single target damage. Again, like Sean said earlier, it looks like both teams will have to defend those hard carries if they want to continue to win these team fights.
Yeah, and on that note, Vayne being an absolute powerhouse in the late game, Xin Zhao, on the other hand, is not. Xin Zhao tends to fall off in the late game. He currently has an item that does not really protect him whatsoever, so his role at being able to perfect the Vayne is limited. That's going to be left up to the Volibear, the Swain, and the Leona to protect that Vayne.
And as the Kindred on the Packers side starts building more and more items, he is currently 2 items out of his potential 3-item power spike is when he's going to start doing exceedingly more damage and get more range depending on what he builds. But he is starting to get stronger and stronger, and they have to find an angle to try to shut out that Kindred before he starts getting too far ahead from them.
Right now, there's a bit of a lull state in the game. The Baron is up, though. There's a bounty on the Baron for the red side if they are able to capitalize on that as well. That's something to pay attention to. The side that is down typically gets bounties on the objectives that they could capture. So we can see how the red team responds to that opportunity.
While it does look like it is close again with the score being 18-14, however, the Packers again are so far ahead in CS. It looks like Swain is trying to fight this Varus 1v1. The Leona is just telling him to go back. He ults in and goes back in. He doesn't have enough damage. He gets hooked by Thresh. What is he doing? He ends up falling. It is now a 5v4 in favor of the Packers. They can definitely use this advantage to see if they can potentially take the Baron, which is currently starting. But I gotta know that the gentlemen on the red side, they are not going to just give this away for free. Right as a 4v5, you've still got a strong Vayne. You've got to do something about this. The Baron's already at 3,000 health, but they decided to just farm their jungle and give out the Baron for free. It was a 5v4, 4v5. I really think that the Xin Zhao maybe should have just gone for a Baron steal or something like that. However, they elect to play a little bit safer. Again, the Packers do have Baron buff. They have a whole bunch of sieging power. They're going to try to take advantage of that and see if they can break open the gentleman's base.
It is not looking too good for the gentlemen so far. They are going to have to defend this push. It is about to get crazy here in the mid lane. It is a 3v5.
Now they're trying to force this fight without their Vayne, which might just be a blunder for them. And it's not looking good as they're pushing in through their through their inhib, looking at those Nexus inhibitors or turrets.
Yes, Leona at half health. Volibear comes in with an ultimate.
Volibear coming in, however, he just gets out with his life. The Kindred, I believe, ulted early to save the minions, just so they could do a little bit more extra damage to tower, but now they have a new fresh wave. It looks like they are trying to just end the game. It is a 3v5. What are they going to do? Leona's got to go in. A good condemn here, but it looks like they're just going for the end of the game. And there you have it. The Packers end up taking down the gentlemen in 2 games, and they will end up being your Fenworks state champions.
It was an excellent performance from both sides, and it was excellent to broadcast this game.
Yeah, fresh experience for us. These high schoolers performed absolutely phenomenally. First time that they've ever had the opportunity to be on this stage. Really incredible.
I definitely want to give out a shout out to the gentlemen. They fought 2 very hard games, right? It really looks like it could have been anybody's game in the mid game. However, when the Packers were able to secure that Baron there, I am just being told right now that there is going to be a bracket reset actually, since the Packers were on the losers side. So however they did win this series 2-0, it looks like there's going to be one more final game. Winner takes all for the state championship. Again, I would like to apologize for calling that a little bit early. We still have one more game to go, folks.
Sorry about that.
We are back into it. This will be the final game of the League of Legends Fenworks Esports tournament.
Yes, and with this final set, we're looking at seeing it's a best of 3 once again. And we're seeing a quick Victor ban, very smart to do, and a Zeri ban. Zeri is very, very hard to play against without CC, so that's not a bad ban to do at all. And we're seeing another Varus ban. Rengar ban, we're trying to get rid of some comfort picks out here now. And a very tactfully banned Shen. We've not seen this guy not play Shen this afternoon. So it's interesting to see what he might pull out next.
Those Shen ultimates were extremely important in those early to mid-game fights especially, right? They really turned the tides for those guys.
We see the Volibear pick again. We've seen this last game. We know it's playable, so... And Malphite is the response. So Malphite into Volibear will be interesting to watch for sure. We'll see how Red Side decides to respond now.
Definitely don't mind the Malphite pick at all. It can actually also go mid lane. However, they did leave Bel'Veth back up. I totally missed that throughout the pick ban, right? The Packers are back on the Bel'Veth. The good thing about that is she's really not that strong early game. I want to see the gentleman pick a very strong early game jungle. I really did not mind the Xin Shao that last game to really make sure they shut down this Bel'Veth.
We could potentially see another Master Yi versus Bel'Veth game. Oh, and we are! Excellent. It might just be a battle of junglers once again.
And we have the Nico pick from that first game. We've seen people on their comfort picks. This will make this final game very exciting. Just to clarify, this is a one-of-one game. Winner takes all. So expect some comfort picks and lots of action. We see this Swain pick. We just watched this last game, a bit of a redemption pick. And we'll see how the Packers respond here with the mid lane pick, ideally.
So again, it looks like we've got the tops for both teams decided, the jungles for both teams decided. Let's see if this game the Packers want to pick the mid early before it gets banned out, and they end up electing to do so. So let's figure out what finally these last 2 lanes will be. I already see the Varus has been banned, so I know that will not be a pick that the Packers can play as well this game.
The Vayne ban is going to be safe for the Packers. That was the main threat that they saw from the blue side. And we see a Thresh response. The Thresh hooks are always annoying, always relevant.
And this is the first game we might see Jinx just up quite yet, and she has been very strong these last couple of patches.
We saw a Rel ban. We know that the gentlemen are comfortable on that pick. Their support copy is a Rel main, one of his favorite picks, so this makes sense.
It does seem like the gentlemen in this game are really thinking hard for that last ban. Do they want to ban out Twitch ADC? So Jinx is still up. This is going to be very interesting. Do either team elect to pick the Jinx? I'm not entirely sure. Or do you think the Packers will end up kind of going for that support role first?
You know, and that's a good question. The support pick here, we saw that the Packers opted to pick that Bel'Veth. You know, they had that absolute pop-off Bel'Veth game early on. So my guess is they're going to pick a support here to be able to support that Bel'Veth, and we do see the Nautilus pick. That is going to ensure Bel'Veth is able to get off as much damage as possible throughout the course of the game.
I do want to say that this time the Packers have a very heavy dive comp again, so I want to see them finish it up with somewhat of a self-sustaining ADC, something like a Xayah, something like an Ezreal, someone that doesn't really need a whole bunch of support to still dish out DPS. But let's see what the gentlemen respond with. They're going with Kai'Sa, it looks like, for ADC. Again, one of those safer picks. I think that it'll be fine into the Nautilus as well. We'll see what they pair it with. Leona, again, 3 games of Leona. Definitely, it seems like the kind of second comfort pick. And they go with a Caitlyn. Very interesting. I will say that this bot lane will favor the Packers this game. Caitlyn is known to be a very big lane bully and outranges Kai'Sa a whole lot. They're going to have to be really careful, even with the engages that Leona has. I want Sean to kind of go into it a little bit more, since I know Leona is his main champion he likes to play.
So one thing that they're going to have to look for in the Leona Kai'Sa lane is to be able to get a couple of Kai'Sa poke off on the Nautilus and try to draw out that Nautilus hook. Now, Kai'Sa is an excellent champion to pick into Nautilus due to her small range dash she can do. and she gains a small speed boost and is able to dodge those sort of abilities. And the issue with that, though, is if the Nautilus does land a hook in this lane, it will cause a staggering effect of a Nautilus hook into a root into a Caitlyn trap, potentially, which would cause roughly about 3 seconds of immobility for the Kai'Sa or the Leona in this lane.
Now we've got about 3 minutes to think a little bit about what our Packers and Gentlemen are going to be doing this following game. We've talked about the bot lane. We're looking at the mid lane here. We've got Swain versus Syndra. Syndra's got plenty of range. Swain's got plenty of sustain. That's going to be a fairly safe lane early on, I would imagine. They don't have a whole ton of roaming capabilities. Although we look at the jungle, and once again we have 2 hyper carry, high damage champions. That is, in my opinion, I really think is going to impact this game in a strong way. In the top side, we've got a Malphite and a Volibear. Malphite, very tanky champion. Volibear, a champion that allows for diving into the enemy team's towers. These are significant things that either team are going to have to consider when looking at the opposing team's damages.
A good thing to look at, especially, is with the Malphite and the Nautilus going in along with the Bel'Veth, that opens up the back line for Master Yi and potentially the Kai'Sa to be able to get back on their back line for free if they're not protected adequately.
I do want to say for this game, again, it is going to be very jungle focused. I think all the ganks are basically going to have to be set up by the laners, and I think both sides have pretty good hard CC in every single lane to be able to do that. I would say Malphite might be one of the weaker ones early game, but right when he gets his ultimate, I think that'll be a very gankable lane for every single jungler here. So I'm very interested to see, I think whichever jungler kind of finds that flank earlier and that their team is able to land some hard CC and get that early gank and early kills off, I think we'll have the advantage coming in forward. I will say bot lane is looking pretty rough for the side of the Gentlemen this game, just because Caitlyn and Nautilus have so much CC, so much damage, and a range advantage as well.
Yes, the one other thing to note on that note, the Packers have been invading, and Nautilus is a incredible early game invader. So I anticipate they stick to the strategy that has worked for them thus far.
Yeah, and one thing definitely they need to be looking at on the Gentleman's side is definitely doing a 5-point where they cover each opening, or at least getting a ward out there, just like they did last game, where they're able to defensively check for vision in case of that impending invade that these Packers really enjoy doing.
I think another option that they could end up doing as well is I really don't think the Gentlemen would lose into a straight up 5v5 against the Packers, right? I think they have a better level 1 as long as they potentially just 5-stack a bush and kind of bait that Nautilus to come in. He probably starts his hook, right? I mean, I just think that the Gentlemen have a little bit better of a level 1. I think that could be some great counterplay here.
Now we're going to see us getting into the game here. Allow us to set up the screen for your optimal viewing, and we will see what these guys do at the early game. We'll look for that invade, and we'll look for that response.
A third game and a third cleanse from the Packers this game in the bot side, but along with that, they're actually bringing cleanse in both ADC roles this game, giving both ADCs movement and free range to cleanse one stun in team fights. And we're seeing another invade from the Packers. Oh, but they're getting caught in the vision of the Swain mid. Are they going to look to turn on him here? We're going to see here in a second what they're deciding.
Yeah, that's definitely very good that the Gentlemen were able to spot that out. I really thought they would kind of start moving towards the top side. I do think it is smart that the Volibear ended up dropping his ward on the blue buff to see. We might have some sort of similar situation to game 2 as well, where they kind of just give each other the other team's blue buffs, right? It looks like the Packers will take the Gentlemen's blue buff, and the Gentlemen will take the Packers' blue buff this game. We will see when the bot lane decides to back, because they definitely need to get to lane here pretty quickly as well.
So right now, everybody's kind of like deciding that they're taking the buffs, and now they're like going back to their respective lanes. And the Swain is seeing the Caitlyn and the support showing up to the bot lane. They know they're going to be a little bit late, and they might just get caught out by the Master Yi in like the bot lane here if they're not careful. She might potentially... Oh, no, the smite goes off. She is not going to be able to contest that. Both sides has vision of their blue buff, knowing it's down along with the timers.
One thing that is important to note here is actually both sides, side lanes, the bot and top lane of the Packers, ended up being a little bit late to lane. That will be a little bit of a negative for that early game because they won't have that experience and gold. So I'm hoping that this game, the Gentlemen, while their lane originally didn't look very good, if they can capitalize on that level 2 and kind of engage immediately, they should be able to potentially just snowball the lane from there on out. But let's see what ends up happening.
We're seeing the Bel'Veth actually doing a full clear of the Gentleman's top side jungle, whereas the Master Yi chose to go for his bot side jungle camps. Will he find out that he should have chosen to do the camps sooner or later is what I'm hoping he finds out soon.
Interestingly enough, as Ryan perfectly pointed out, although the Caitlyn and the Nautilus are able to outrange the Leona and the Kai'Sa, they did respect the Leona engage possibility, and they've just continued to farm. We see a trade going on here in the mid lane, fairly even.
Yeah, I mean, the mid lane is definitely just going to be a little bit boring wave clear here. Both junglers, their objective is just going to be to farm the entire game. I really think that the skill of each individual player in all those lanes will kind of determine any type of fights that we see, any kills that happen early, because both Master Yi and Bel'Veth really just want to farm. It looks like Master Yi was trying to go for a gank mid lane, however he did get spotted. Somehow, I don't see a ward there, but Syndra just had an inkling knowing that Master Yi was there, and she was very smart to back off.
Yeah, currently everybody in the game is trying to scale and try to stay as passive as possible. This is the final game in this series. So the tensions are high, and I think everybody is just waiting to see an angle out of First Blood here.
Yeah, that's definitely a very good point there, Sean. This is the absolute final game. Winner takes the championship. I would not be surprised to see a much more slower, drawn-out game. People not planning on taking as many risks, right? Just going for kind of what's in front of them. And as we can see from the first 4 minutes of the game, there have been 0 kills. Not a lot of trades happening here either. Basically just CS back and forth. It looks like right now that the Packers have a little bit of advantage in gold just because the Bel'Veth elected to take all of the top side of the Master Yi, and Master Yi only took that blue buff. So those couple of camps on the Bel'Veth will definitely help her scale a little bit faster than the Master Yi.
Currently, the Packers have set up enough vision to be able to like look at potentially doing Dragon safely if they get their waves pushed out both bot and mid. However, the Master Yi is kind of looking to angle at a gank bot, but the Packers are seeing this right now in live action, so they're pulling off just a little bit.
Yeah, the Packers have noted the Master Yi's presence bot lane, but you know, after 2 games of our jungler getting picked off here, our blue side jungler, the Gentleman's jungler, getting picked off, you know, we're seeing him put up some wards here for the first time, and that's going to be really, really big.
We're seeing some trades happening in the mid lane back and forth. Swain with his amount of like early sustain a little bit, keeping him alive. And now we're looking at the Packers on their first Dragon.
Yes, as we've stated earlier, this bot lane was definitely the Caitlyn Nautilus advantage, and as we've seen, they've shoved in the entire time, which does put them in an advantage for this Dragon. However, for some reason, the Packers decide to back off, play it a little bit more safe. It looks like there's not a lot happening right now other than teams kind of grouping around the Dragon, figuring out which one is going to be the one that kind of takes it first.
This Nautilus and the jungler, Bel'Veth, they're both looking for a quick pick for a safer Dragon, it seems, unknowing that the Master Yi is currently taking the topside jungle from the Bel'Veth.
That's going to be really annoying for the Bel'Veth, who requires farm and jungle camps to scale throughout the course of the game. So, yeah, Master Yi is simultaneously ensuring his own growth throughout the course of the game and crippling Bel'Veth. This is a strategic choice.
Unfortunately, it looked like Master Yi elected to leave the jungle and walk back towards his top side of the camps. I think that would have been a great time to kind of take advantage and at least take those Raptors from the Bel'Veth. However, he decided to play it a little bit more safe, right? It is this final game to determine the winner. I don't think he wanted to be the one to give up first blood potentially to the Bel'Veth, right? Especially how strong she carried that game 1. So I understand playing it a little bit more safe. Unfortunately, he didn't see the map that we saw.
We're seeing the Bel'Veth and the Malphite setting up for a little bit of headhunting on the jungler again, and the Malphite ult, the knockup, and it's gone. That's first blood for the Packers this game, along with the blue buff to top it off.
I absolutely loved that play there by the Packers, right? They finally decided to take it into their own hands. They knew their Bel'Veth was a little bit far ahead. They wanted to use that Malphite ult. They knew Volibear was also not level 6, so there was really nothing that they can do. Master Yi, unfortunately, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, great capitalization from the Packers. Oh, and as we see, Nautilus just goes in to hook the Leona. Leona ends up sustaining from the Keystone Aftershock as well as her W, taking much less health than she normally would have.
Now the jungle is up. The red team is moving together. There is 4 Packers on the Dragon right now. It's already down to half HP nearly. They're going to be able, it looks like, to lock this down uncontested, which is... Oh, Swain has located them. The Dragon is at 1,000 HP. It is now gone. He's unable to steal it with a Z.
We're seeing the Malphite now pressuring the Volibear off his own CS. Hopefully, we can see the Volibear come back here after his next back.
Now, just to note something that the Packers are doing this game that I think is really interesting, they've noted that their jungler has had some really crazy late game carry potential, and they have been moving together. The Bel'Veth has been paired with another teammate throughout the course of this game. They picked the Master Yi on the blue side, top side, at the beginning together, and they roamed bot to the Dragon with the mid laner. The Cinder and the Bel'Veth moved in unison, so they are really investing in their jungler, who has done nothing but promise success into the future of the game. So
Exactly. No, I think you really hit the nail on the head right there. That Nautilus being by that Bel'Veth side just provides her with a little bit more support, and the aggressiveness that she's been able to do, with, as we also saw with the Malphite on the top side, right? That is why she's a little bit more ahead than this Master Yi. Master Yi's kind of trying to play catch up here at the current moment. Bel'Veth's finally going to be by herself a little bit just to farm her jungle. She is heading topside right now, and you know what objective's up topside? The Rift Herald. Very, very, very strong on the Bel'Veth. So we want to pay attention to see if the Nautilus, who I believe might do this, will roam to kind of make sure they secure that objective.
The red team now has 3 Malphite, Bel'Veth, and Syndra teammates on that top side, on that Shelly. So they're working to lock that objective down as we speak. The blue team, the gentlemen, are responding accordingly. They are moving.
I actually really like this by the gentlemen here. They actually elect to bring their support up, providing a 4v3 fight towards the top side. They really have to take advantage of this Leona being up there and a 4v3 on the Rift Shield and make sure that Bel'Veth doesn't get it. However, it looks like Swain is trying to reset right now. Leona is going mid lane to catch the wave, and Kai'Sa just this entire time is being forced off of her tower, right? Caitlyn and Nautilus get 2 tower plates down there. She doesn't get any of that XP. It's very smart by the Kai'Sa to take that step back, but with Leona roaming, I really wanted to see the gentleman kind of take advantage of that 4v3 and potentially fight at that Rift Herald.
And with that Leona holding mid off the minions, she was able to secure level 6, and now she'll have her ult ability to be able to like potentially catch out this Caitlyn or this Nautilus here for the Kai'Sa.
The Leona has rejoined her Kai'Sa in the bot lane, so the Kai'Sa can be a little bit more aggressive, and we see an engage by the Leona. She ultis the Caitlyn. Caitlyn cleanses. Kai'Sa ultis onto the Caitlyn. She's doing big damage.
Okay, she holds off autoing, which allows the Kai'Sa to finish off that kill. Now the Leona just needs to keep the Nautilus from hooking or flashing away, and they were able to secure it. The gentlemen are coming back.
That was absolutely fantastic engage by Copy there in the bot lane. As Sean said, she just hit level 6 from catching that wave. She knew that she had that advantage with that Kai'Sa. They were very fortunate to get a double kill on their main carry this game. However, we do see on the top side that Bel'Veth is soloing that Rift Herald, right? There's no ward, no vision. Nobody knows that that's what she's doing. I can only hope the gentlemen are aware of it, and we'll see where that Bel'Veth ends up going.
Yes, the Master Yi biding his time, farming his camps. He is doing what he can to stay at pace with the Belveth, although Belveth already has her mythic item, the Kraken Slayer. She's going to have some damage that the Master Yi is missing. He is working his way towards his own mythic item as we speak.
And currently we're just watching a little bit of poke back and forth again from the lanes. This is currently the lowest kill count game yet at 11:45. We are definitely seeing more decision making and less sloppy plays made left and right. It's a lot tighter game, it's a lot cleaner, and it's a lot better League of Legends.
As you can tell, though, however, towards that top side, we are seeing a huge CS advantage from the Malphite versus the Volibear. So that is where that normal 2,000 gold lead comes in. We just saw the Belveth was bot side with the Rift Herald. Let's see if the camera ends up panning down. We've got a teleport by the Volibear to try to save this tower. He gets it off. It is a 3v3, however. We'll see what's going on. Volibear getting absolutely shredded. He is down. It looks like the gentleman will have to just try to run away. Leona is trying to keep the Kai'Sa alive. Kai'Sa just needs to run. She gets hooked by the Nautilus, and now she's getting stunned and CC chain, and she is down. There are 5 people on the map here in the bot lane very early in the game. Finally, our first big team fight. However, there was just no Swain and there was no Master Yi to kind of help out there. Very good team play by the Packers to be able to, number 1, get that bot tower, number 2, get some kills, and now number 3 looks like get this dragon.
Yes, the Packers slowly just securing objectives as the game continues on. We've seen that they're very objective-oriented, and that has snowballed them to victories in our previous games. So we'll see how many objectives they'll be allowed to get by the gentleman before they absolutely have to respond to this Belveth, who now has a 3-0 lead over this Master Yi. She has a 400 gold bounty. Whoever can lock that down will also bag themselves some extra gold.
Right, and with the Master Yi trying to play catch-up, there's also a lot of really tight CS happening between like the bot and the mid lane. It's very neck and neck, which is excellent to see versus like say the second game or like the first game. And currently we're trying to find out where can the gentleman come back.
Yes, we've seen the top lane. They're definitely playing a top lane, weak side sort of strategy. The Volibear and the Malphite have been duking it out, so to speak, in the top lane, all to themselves. We saw 1 TP to the bot lane, which was secured them a couple of kills, but yeah, nothing crazy going on the top side of the map yet.
Currently, the Belveth is free reign over that blue buff for a 3rd time, and the Master Yi is staggering in, and potentially he might just be walking into her trap. Or not. Well,
Yep. They end up running into each other. Master Yi has to ult and flash away. He does get hit by the knockup. Belveth very close, and Master Yi very smartly uses that cone. However, the Belveth is all the way in the enemy jungle. Leona just missed the ult because of the very well-timed dash by Belveth. She is able to heal a little bit with her passive, and again, at the end of the day, it is a 1-for-0. Belveth says, I am not done yet. I'm going to take advantage of this low health or low-leveled Volibear. Volibear ends up flashing away as well. Leona is trying to come to help, but I don't know how much she can do.
It looks like she's being pinged off.
Yeah. One other thing to notice, we also have the Packers right now during this whole time when Belveth was doing whatever she wanted, getting mid lane tower. However, Nautilus hooked in and missed the people. They ended up backing off on the Nautilus, unfortunately. And at the end of the day, it was 1 kill and 1 mid lane tower, again in favor of the Packers.
You know, we're really seeing another Belveth pop-off game. We're gonna have to anticipate the gentleman responding accordingly. They cannot let her run free all over the map, and Master Yi is definitely going to have to start to gain some control. There is almost a 3,000 gold differential between the junglers. That is no small matter.
One thing that the gentleman will have to look at to bring this game back is to get that Leona Q, E, and R off on the Belveth to try to alleviate as much damage to their front line, alongside the Swain exhaust to try to alleviate any sort of damage coming their way.
There are no heals or shields on the side of the Packers, so if Belveth does end up going in, she's kind of all on herself. The only way that she will get help is from the crowd control from Nautilus and Syndra, and potentially the Malphite ult as well, which is not to be understated. However, if she gets a little bit too far, believe that the Gentlemen definitely have enough crowd control and damage to kind of take advantage of that. I really want to see the Gentlemen get a little bit more vision control here. We just saw how aggressive that Bel'Veth was playing this last back. So I want to see them be able to maybe get a 1v2, 1v3 situation on the Bel'Veth. As it looks, we are grouping towards this Rift Herald that's coming up soon.
Bel'Veth beginning to engage on this Leona, who wandered to ward. Volibear trading a little bit with the Bel'Veth. Caitlyn right there to follow up if anything were to occur.
We have like the Packers looking to go for the engage on Swain. Swain flash. Bel'Veth is not done. She gets Leona ulted off and poked with a little bit of Kaisa. And they're going to pull right out of that jungle and look to Baron, it looks like. They're like, the Gentlemen are scattered across the map and in no way ready for this Drake or this Baron fight.
Yeah, if anything, we did end up seeing that the Packers had Malphite in the bot lane the entire time, which now it looks like to be the main focus. He just flashing ults away. Absolutely nothing getting accomplished down there. I guess they did burn his summoner spell flash, which was nice. However, we did have a 5v4 fight in the top side towards that Rift Herald objective. I am surprised that the Gentlemen did not try to take advantage of that, especially when we saw again the Bel'Veth was in their jungle. I think they're just a little bit scared that Bel'Veth is a very scary champion, right? And now we see that her minions are passive. Oh, Leona goes in, able to hook the Caitlyn. Caitlyn has to cleanse and flash to get out of there. Very good pick. However, Swain's taking massive damage on the background. Caitlyn walks up again. It looks like there's a Volibear that's coming to the flank. Stuns on the Syndra. He's going in. Caitlyn ends up dying, but here comes the rest of the Packers. Syndra is so close to death. She just gets out alive, but the rest of the Packers are able to use their damage, use their tankiness to kind of finish off the fight. Master Yi goes in, does secure the kill on the Syndra. Swain ends up going in, secures the kill on the Malphite. Is a 1v2 against this Bel'Veth and Nautilus. The Bel'Veth finally takes off the Gentlemen.
That's a pentakill
that was
for the Packers.
Pentakill for the Bel'Veth. Lunar able to pick that off.
An absolutely crippling fight for the Gentlemen. They're going to have to start to change their strategies, adapt to this Bel'Veth situation. Bel'Veth now has 8 kills, 0 deaths and 2 assists, a 700 gold bounty on her, and another dragon locked down for the Packers. This is something that the Gentlemen, they're going to start having to pull tricks out of the bag. They're not going to be able to play a standard game anymore. Bel'Veth will be able to snowball at this point, so they will have to pick, they will have to split push, they will have to do something different.
I mean, after those 5 kills, we already see that Bel'Veth has almost 3,000 gold in her stash. So she'll be able to get that Rage Blade and get a large portion of her second item as well to be even more far ahead than the Master Yi. I mean, look at him. He's got 1 item and like 1 little component, that longsword. He is so far behind right now. They're definitely going to need to use advantage of that Leona and Swain to try to get a pick off of this Bel'Veth in the jungle. They're not going to win 5v5 team fights, unfortunately, at this time of the game. They're really going to have to play for picks, play for vision, see if the Packers get a little bit too ahead of themselves and end up, kind of throwing the match. It is still anybody's game, but definitely the Packers are in the lead with that Bel'Veth carrying them.
We can see the Nautilus here working to ward the opposing team's jungle now that the mid tower has fallen. This is going to be standard. This is going to be really important to understanding what's going on all over the map. Kaisa and Syndra are dueling in the bot lane. A mid laner versus an ADC is typically going to favor the mid laner, but Kaisa feels sufficiently strong, so we're seeing that here.
Something that's very important that Riot added a couple of years ago, especially with like how the bounty system works. So the Bel'Veth has such a major lead over the rest of the other champions in the game. She has accumulated a 700 gold bounty, and that's something that Gentlemen can look at to try to get a champion ahead, whether it's Kaisa or Master Yi, to try and get them that gold back. That's 1,000 gold potentially for either one of their carries.
Yes, and we're seeing in totality about a 7,000 gold difference, a deficit to the Gentlemen. Although I've seen games come back with a larger deficit. So, and right now we're seeing the Packers lock down the Baron. It's already at half HP, and the Gentlemen have no idea.
I don't know if they just didn't think that they were on it, or if they didn't think that they could, go for it. But it was a 5v5. That's about the best you can do. I do want to give the Packers credit. They did have a lot of vision control. We did see that Belveth almost got caught out. Fortunately for her, she was able to get out alive and dodge that Leona ult.
We're seeing some trading. We're seeing some positioning going on. Master Yi making sure to clear his bot side, and the gentlemen are backing off of the mid lane. They don't want to get in over their heads or get into something that they won't be able to recover from. We've seen at this point in the game, the Packers have been able to secure victories by getting this Baron objective and then pushing from this tier 2 tower all the way to the Nexus. So the gentlemen are responding accordingly.
Right, and the gentlemen are looking to engage her with the Leona.
Goodness.
And they're looking to turn this. There's a TP coming from the Malphite, or the Syndra rather. She's coming mid, and this might just close out the game if they're able to push this in. That's a stun off on the Leona.
It looks like Leona's going to go down here. Swain ends up shutting down the Belveth. It looks like she was just tanking the tower the entire time. Thought that they would have enough damage. That is going to slow the push a lot. It is a 4v3 here. Let's see if the Packers can finish it off. The gentlemen have to do something. Master Yi is sitting in the base. He was waiting for a couple of items. They end up going in. They end up taking down the Nautilus. It is a 1-for-1 trade, though. Their damage on Caitlyn and Syndra are still alive. However, they elect to take a kill, take one tower, and back off here.
Yes, the Master Yi was not given the opportunity to enter the fight, or he opted to not ulti and get to the fight quickly. So I believe the Packers were respecting the fact that Master Yi was not present in that fight and back off with what they were able to get.
Well, now the Packers are looking to grab their final dragon to finish out their dragon chain and make a dragon soul. We're going to have to see if the gentlemen want to try to stop this. Otherwise, they're just going to be able to run away with this game.
I really just want to see the gentlemen, 5-stack 1 bush, make sure that there's no vision, anything like that, right? They need to get a pick, right? They can't just be walking in a 5v5 team fight. That is not going to work. As we've seen time and time again this game, already a 9,000 gold lead. The Packers still have Baron buff, right? It looks like they're a little bit late for the dragon. They're on a ward, right? The Packers understand where the gentlemen are, but it looks like they're going to be trying to contest this Dragon Soul, right? Very important, especially in Ocean Soul. Provides a whole bunch of health and sustain during a team fight. It looks like Volibear is looking to try to go in. He goes on the Nautilus. Leona lands on one. Belveth, however, finishes off the Volibear. Ends up killing. Kaisa is going crazy in the back, however. She's the only one left standing with the Swain. She's still going. Kaelin's so low, but there's just not enough damage. However, on the gentleman, we finally see the TP from Malphite. Looks like the rest of the team is going to try to join and go for the end. Malphite, being a tank, is going to try his best to try to take this tower, but as we can see, it is not going extremely fast. He now has the minions to help him out a little bit here. Syndra and Nautilus are coming to kind of help out as well. But it looks like with the death timers, unless Volibear and Master Yi get up, as well as the Leona in record time to try to end this. But however, it looks like the Nexus falls on the side of the gentleman. The Packers end up taking the state championship with the Fenworks event and are your 2023 champions in League of Legends.
What a series of games we were just able to watch. Once again, these high schoolers were absolutely able to put on a show for us. So thank you guys, and thank you all for coming.